Hey there, everybody. This is CP Cards and Dice, and welcome to our unboxing of a few different things that I received all at once. So I'm pretty excited to get new additions, I guess, to um, my collection of resources, really, because they're informational in nature. I don't really consider them as part of a collection, really. Uh, I more kind of lean on them for information and as a reference. Books and envelopes, that's just enrichment, I think, more than collecting. It's just enrichment, adding another dimension to our hobby for me. So Philip Reynolds in the house. Hey there, brother. So I got some surprises, some exciting surprises in the mail. I got a few different things that you guys out there recommend, and then I see different things and I get excited about them, and I want them. I want to kind of make them a part of my tabletop experience and so forth, and it just makes the hobby more interesting. So the first thing I want to look at, I'm going to put this book to the side. First thing I want to look at is some envelopes that I got from Chris White. He does really cool custom envelopes, and I got these for he specializes in APA. I'm doing the 1987 APA replay. So I'm doing a 1987 APA replay, and he makes these. He's got a system down. He showed me his system. I mean, he's a very generous guy. That's why when he actually sent me envelopes for free a couple of years ago. So he's a very kind gentleman. His name is Chris White. And you can go on to the APA forum. He's always on the APA forum, and he's the guy that runs the Vegas APA convention. And that's always very cool as well. He's got some sort of tournament out there in California and Las Vegas. And he loves APA, and he does a lot of that. He's a very generous guy. And so I was able to pick up a set of custom envelopes for my APA set, because I'm playing the Mets. This is all the American League, so I'm going to put them aside. I'm going to handle them on another occasion. But he showed me how to do this, and he sent me templates and everything. He wanted me to do it on myself, and then he started selling them. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to buy them off you. So you got the San Diego Padres. Those are pretty cool. The Atlanta Braves. It's just a little bit different than the standard envelope from APA. So I'm going to put some of these in the envelopes now. I'm take them out of so you can see that there. These are kind of cool. Montreal Expos, Philadelphia Phillies, St. Louis Cardinals, and New York Mets. There they are, my boys. All right. So these are the standard fare, the standard APA fare. Pretty simple, right? Let's see if we can. There you go. It's better, a little bit better. Very simple. This is the tradition. I'm going to save these. I'm not going to throw them out. I'm going to save them. But I'm going to pull the cards out, and I'm doing my 87 replay, the Mets 87 replay. Now, APA is very close to my heart. It is, I call it the McCarthy era baseball, because, the last time they updated it was in 1958. This one is the Cincinnati Reds. So we're putting this into the Cincinnati Reds envelope. This is kind of cool. So I call it the Cold War tabletop baseball game. APA basic. They haven't done a lot to it in 60 years. APA basic, pretty much. San Francisco's next. The San Francisco Giants. And we're going to put these away into the envelope. These are cool. I like these. It's going to bring them to life a little bit, so it'll give me more of a motivation to get in there and get into it. And I should do this with other sets, so I got to find out if he can do. Now that I'm thinking about it, he could do these. Look at this. Wow. Payoff pitch. Fits perfectly in there. And also, I don't know if this will fit in there, but these are the inside pitch. Let's test that out. I don't know if they'll fit in there. Oh, no. They're not going to fit. Too many cards in inside pitch. But I think that payoff pitch will fit in there. Oh, yeah, they fit in there. Look at that. A little bit tight, but they still fit. Still haven't found. Now, the biggest card that I found with the largest font and the easiest to read are the inside pitch cards. They're really good to read. Not a lot on them. They're kind of, but you can really pick everything out. They're not cluttered at all. Anyway, let's go back to what we were doing. What team is this here? It's like Ray, Breen, Morrison. Oh, these are the Pirates. And let's see. We're looking for the Pittsburgh Pirates of '87. So these are pretty cool. I have two other things I'm going to show you guys that I'm going to unbox two other items as well. Just want to put all these away. What about Strat cards? Yeah, I have those. I have some custom envelopes for Strat cards as well. But I'm selling a lot of my Strat stuff right now. I have too much Strat stuff, and I'm not going to be playing that much Strat stuff. Just like I sold most of my Atlas stuff. I'll still keep some. I'll still play it every so often, but it's not going to be most of my gaming. The next one is Montreal, the Montreal Expos, '87 Expos. And then I got the Chicago Cubs, '87 Chicago Cubs. The Atlanta Braves, '87 Braves. I only buy the old APBA sets. I don't buy any new APBA sets. I don't think I want to spend $120 to get all the players. So I buy the old ones with the extra players. And then I just print up a couple of players that I need from Steve's APBA maker online. This is the Houston Astros. Here they are. And I'm not going to spend all that money on these cards. Let's see. The Los Angeles Dodgers. These are cool as well. The Dodgers are there. And then we got the St. Louis Cardinals, right? St. Louis Cardinals are next. So these are cool. These are maybe entice me to go get to them a little bit more often. I can play these games in 15, 20 minutes sometimes. If everything goes, if you don't have to do a lot of pitching changes and so forth. And I don't do a lot of talking if I'm streaming. But when I play by myself, I get through some games pretty darn quick. So let's see. The Mets are here. And I got the Mets right here. They're going to be there. And then I think the Mets were playing the Padres. I'm not sure who I had. Yep, they're playing San Diego. So I'm going to get rid of this set. I'm not going to get rid of it. I'm just going to put it over to the side. But here I go. Here I have the new custom envelopes, and it replaces these kind of plain old classic envelopes. I don't throw them out. I save them to the side, and I still have them. But I'm going to wrap these up a little bit here in some. These are my '87 replay that I'm doing with the Mets. That's always a fun replay. Find out about that. And here I'm going to put some of these away. Just store them to the side somewhere. There you go. All right, so that's unboxing number one. Unboxing number two. What else do I got to go in here? Don Heston is in the house. No relation to Charlton Heston, I presume. I got a couple of books that were recommended to me. A couple of books that were recommended to me. 70s baseball. Look at this. This is exciting. Exciting reading for about big hair and plastic grass. This came highly regarded, highly recommended. A funny ride through baseball in America in the swinging 70s. And that's Dan Epstein was the author of that one. And on the cover, you have Bill Buckner, I believe. That's rest in peace, Bill Buckner. You have Jim Rice. That looks like Louis Tiant. Then over here, you got Mark the Bird Fidrich. Now, this has got to be Oscar Gamble, right? It's got to be Oscar Gamble, or is it somebody else with that fro like that? I think it was Oscar Gamble. So this is a pretty cool book. When was this? What is the copyright date for this one? At some point, this was $26. I bought it, I think, for $3, $4. This is back when people used to read books. 2010. Wow. So somebody did in 2010, somebody did a bunch of research on 70s teams. Contents: 1970, 71, ashtrays and astroturf. 72, 73, polyester proliferation. 74, 75, rose, froze, anything goes. That's contents on 9. 76, that's the year I'm replaying with the Yankees using inside pitch. That's chapter 10, so I'll definitely get into that one. 11, 1977. 12, chicken suits and cheap beer. 13, 1978, 1979, 14. And epilogue, the party's over, 312. Acknowledgments by bibliography and index. Pretty cool. Let's just give me a quick excerpt of what this is all about. So thank you guys for you're the guys that make recommendations all the time. You contact me when I make comments and stuff, and you listen and you say, hey, dude, this is what you need to get. So it's been said that the golden age of baseball is an impossible thing to truly pinpoint or define, since it almost always refers to the era during which you first fell in love with the game. For my father, who grew up in the shadow of Ebbets Field and still considers Vin Scully the new guy on the Dodgers broadcasting team, the period from 1947 to 1955 was the golden age. Not only did it produce some of the greatest Brooklyn Dodger, New York Giant, and New York Yankee squads of all time, but it was also marked by heroic, if long overdue, integration of the game, which helped pave the way for the increasing and also long overdue integration of American society. Love it. Cool stuff. All right, that's big hair and plastic grass, and I'm going to go to paragraph or chapter 11, I believe. Just 1976. That's the one I want to get to. Let's see. You got some pictures in this. Oh, this is great stuff, man. This is great stuff. 1976. There you go, right here, chapter 10, 1976. America's bicentennial year arrived not a moment too soon. The first 6 years of the 1970s have been plagued by war, recession, social unrest, and political scandal. But with Richard Nixon gone and the Vietnam War finally over, the advent of 1976 seemed like a signal for the exhausted nation to relax, take a deep breath, lighten the mood, and attempt to solve a collective psyche that had been battered relentlessly since John F. Kennedy's assassination in 1963. Cool stuff. The next book I want to look at, Dynastic Bombastic, Reggie Raleigh Catfish, Charlie Finley's Swingin' A's, Jason Turbo, author of The Baseball Codes. Let's see when this was written here. $26, higher in Canada. That's too bad for the Canadians. Copyright 2017. Again, a book by written in the present about the past. Vita Blue, Sweet Smell of Success. Part 2 is The Pinnacle, 1972 to 1974. You have The Ascendance Period, Part 1, The Pinnacle. Springtime for Champions, Defending Your Flag, Beating the Birds, Scapegoat Nation. Wherefore Williams, Another Run. Then you have The Descent, 75 to 80, Retool, House Cleaning, Long Slope Down. Cool stuff. This is called Dynastic, Bombastic, Fantastic, Reggie Raleigh Catfish, and Charlie Finley's Swingin' A's. So this, I'm sure, will have some interesting anecdotes. All right, so this is the big one. 1970 Topps baseball cards. This is the one. This is a holy grail for me because I'm replaying the 1969 season using Replay Baseball, the computer's simulation system, their computer game, and of course I'm rolling using Payoff Pitch, using the playing the Mets, kind of managing the Mets or or being a voyeur through the Mets season using actual lineups, kind of learning it through the experience of rolling it and driving it, being the driving force. So here you go. I mean, this is the portrait era. This is the last portrait era. Now this is fairly simple. They have a gray border. The 70s. This is the 1970 set of the 1969 season, because this was done in October of '69. So you have all the players that finished the season in 1969 with their team. And here you go. You have the Mets. Tug McGraw's there. That's great. Get that. So I got another set of the Mets. So I'm going to put up one of my Mets sets for sale, because I'm going to have these are gorgeous, man. These are really beautiful. I will take care of this set for sure. Dave Johnson. Right now we're playing who are we playing now? A little bit later, I'm playing the Braves, right? Ah, look at that. There's Gil Garrido. You have batting leaders cards. You have rookie stars, Joe Liss and Scott Reed. Never heard of those guys. 69 RBI leaders, Harmon Killebrew, Willie McCovey. ERA leaders, Juan Marichal, Bob Gibson, Steve Carlton. ERA leaders in the American League, Bosman, Jim Palmer, Mike Cuellar. Pitching leaders, Tom Seaver, New York Mets. Don Cardwell. Got to get all the Mets together. Guys never have these in teams. They always have them kind of. I don't know if they have them in order of the numbers. Do they put them in number order? Oh yeah, there you go. They got them in number order. Look at that. That's what I got to do. I got to get all the sets in number order, so that way you can see that everybody's there when you pick it up, right? Braves, George Stone. I thought George Stone was a Met. Topps baseball card, 1970. This is holy grail for me, man. Isn't George Stone a Met in '73? Maybe that's what I'm thinking. These are really nice set. This is a nice set. Pretty good shape, except some of these cards have been this checklist has been written on. So I have to replace that. Get one that hasn't been written on. I'm looking for the Braves. Let's see, the guy who's pitching against the Mets today. It's Cardwell against Pat Jarvis. Let's see if we find Pat Jarvis here. Pat Jarvis. There's another Met. There's Gary Gentry. He's having a good season in my replay. He had a good season, but he's doing well in my replay. We're looking for Jarvis. That's Phil Niekro. We just faced him. It was Seaver beat Niekro 2-1. That was a great game. That's the last stream that I did. So if you want to check that out, go stay on this channel and just look up Seaver Niekro. We're looking for Pat Jarvis. Let's move a little bit faster here. This is a gorgeous set, man. Holy smokes. Joe Torre, look at that. And these are the playoff games. Game 2, game 3, game 1. Wow. Powell scores the winning run. Birds wrap it up. Playoff. Angels, Dodgers, A's. Bert Campaneris. Wow. He was young in '69. Mets, Ken Boswell. Looking for Jarvis with the Braves. Who's that? Bob Didier. He tops all-star rookie. Wow, look at that. He was a rookie in '69. I didn't know that. Senators, Cubs, Expos. My Dynasty League baseball seasons are starting up. I already did my final cuts today and signed my free agents. I signed, who do I have on that team? on my Dynasty League Baseball. If you go on there, you can join a league online and get a team and draft a team. Our draft is on the 29th of February, but my team is pretty much set. I got 7 spots, which I just have to fill in with some pitchers pretty much. I mean, I got a couple of decent catchers. Christian Vasquez. I signed Vasquez to a 2-year extension. Otherwise, he would have gone into the free agent market. And I also signed Severino, Pedro Severino. So those are both my catchers. At first base, I have Freddie Freeman. At third base, I have Arenado. But I signed Arenado for only 1 more year because his contract was very, very high. And every time I would sign him, I would have to pay another, it would increase his salary. So, and then it would get too high. I wouldn't be able to trade him. And then I can basically put him back into the draft and win him, if I need to. I mean, I don't know if he's injured or something could happen. I don't know. I just couldn't afford to sign him. He has a huge salary in the league. I did let Jose Ramirez go. I didn't want to let him go, but I did let him go. I may pick him up in the draft on the 29th again. But he didn't have a great season and he was injured a little bit, so maybe that he won't go as expensive as I don't know what's going to happen with that. But he plays third base primarily, and I already have Arenado at third base, so that was kind of tricky. So I had 2 third basemen. He wasn't going to get play, so what was I going to do? But I don't know. That's tough. I didn't want to let him go because he is a young player. He's only 26 years old. So I let Reyes go. I signed Whit Merrifield. He's going to be my center fielder, second baseman type. And I signed him for 3 years because he's 30 years old, but he's a late bloomer. He's batted 300 in the last couple of years, and I think with his speed and his defensive ability, he's really, really good. So I have him as well. Puig, I signed for a year because he's a flake. I don't know. He's an outfielder with basically 250 hitter with 24 home runs. There's a lot of guys out there that play the outfield that can do that. So I wasn't going to really worry about signing him for too long, and I had him really cheap. Who else did I get? I have 2 really good pitchers. I have Ryu, and I have the kid on the Reds that was lights out this last season. I forget his name. And I have Eduardo Rodriguez from the Red Sox that almost won 20 games. I think he won like 19 games, believe it or not. Yeah, so he's got a lot of wins, not a great ERA. But I didn't look at his whip, but I have him. So he had 200 innings pitched. So I have a pretty good staff there, 3 guys that are go-to guys right there. So I can pick up a couple other guys that fill in and some bullpen guys. And my shortstop is DeYoung. I have Howie Kendrick, who had an amazing year. 300 bats, had 17 home runs, batted 340, 344. He's on my team, and he'll be bouncing around, different DH or first base, second base. He can play all different positions. I think he played outfield as well. Who else do I have on that team? So I did Freddie Freeman at first, Arenado at third. My second baseman is I could say it's Merrifield. So I'm really looking for a little bit of outfield help, maybe a center fielder. I can pick up a decent center fielder that can kind of hold his own, play good defense. That's what really I'm looking for. I have decent pitching. I think I have good hitting. I got some good averages in there. I have above average fielding. DeYoung has a very good fielding rating. So anyway, that's my Jackson Heights team. I call them the Jackson Heights Metropolitans from Queens. Jackson Heights is right next to Flushing, Queens, where the Mets are from. We're looking for Jarvis here of the Braves. Who's that? Tommy Aaron. Jarvis, the pitcher for the Braves. There's Don Clendenin. Look, he's in a Met uniform, you see. If I would have gotten 69, he wouldn't be in a Met uniform. He would be in a Montreal uniform. So there I have him. That's the thing with baseball cards. You got to get the following year. Like if you're playing 69, you got to get 70. If you're playing 76, you got to get 77. But that's not always true because, for example, the A's, if you don't have the 76 team, you're not going to have all the A's because about 6 or 7 guys in 76 dropped off the team before they took the pictures. And those were all the guys that became free agents. Campaneris, Tennis, Rudy, Bando, all those guys you won't have on the team in '77 because they were immediately done. The minute it was like the bell rang, they were out and they weren't around to take any more pictures. They were happy to go too because they knew there was money waiting for them. Especially Joe Rudy got a lot of money. Look at Tommy Seaver's card. I love that. I'm going to put my 1970 Mets for sale. I got the whole set of the 1970 Mets. I'm going to put that for sale because I already have them here again. So I'm going to have 2 sets. I don't need 2 sets of the Mets. But I'm looking for Jarvis on the Braves. So you get almost every player because back then all the teams stayed the same. And they didn't, have a lot of subs. So the guys, you're going to get the 26 or 27 players on the team are usually going to get a card. It was just a different time. Hal King, another Brave, is there. Yanks, Bobby Mercer. Look at that. Wow. Look at these great pictures, man. This takes me back to another era. That's the beauty of this. It takes us back to another era. Look at Phil Regan. Oh my God, he's the Mets pitching coach today. He's like 85 years old, 83 or 82, something nuts. We're looking for Jarvis on the Braves because he's starting in my game, the game I'm going to play in a little while today. I'm not going to stream that game. It's not a big pitching matchup. I'm trying to stream like the big pitching matchups, like I streamed the Necro Seaver matchup. I thought that was exciting. I do the Gibson Seaver matchups. I do the big matchups. I can't stream everything. Let's see. I'm still looking for the Braves. Jarvis. I haven't seen him. Braves. Gary. I can't even say that. I don't know what that name is. Neil Boehner. Something like that. Let's see. Oh, that's another Met. Oh, look at that. Gil Hodges. Man, he has piercing blue eyes. You can see that in this picture. Holy smokes. Let's see. I'm looking for the Braves. Jarvis. This is Sonny Jackson. All right. Sonny Jackson, the shortstop. That's cool to see what the guys look like, man. It brings the cards to life for me, That's why I do this sort of thing, just to kind of enhance the experience. It brings the players to life for me. Now, this set was, I'll tell you, I'm a working guy. This was a chunk of change. This was a chunk of change. I'm going to be honest, for a working guy. Luckily, my kids are growing up and they work. Ron Swoboda. I wouldn't have been able to justify this 10 years ago when they were still small. There he is, Pat Jarvis. I told you I'd find him. So pretty much when you replay the older sets and you want to get a card set from that period, you're going to get most of the team. So everybody that's on that team, the starters pretty much are the same guys every day. It's so easy to replay the older seasons. And if I'm learning a new tabletop game, I'm using an older season because there are not many changes. So I don't have to freak out all the time. I don't have to bring a pitcher every inning, and I don't have to bring in a new pinch hitter every inning because that really bogs you down. And then on top of it, you're learning new rules. Oh, no way, Jose. So if I'm learning new rules, now if I already know the rules, well, then I'll update, and I will play a modern season, although I'm not a big fan of the modern seasons for replays. And if I do a replay, it's going to be with the assistance of a computer because I know I would not be able to get as many players in there as they do in reality. And then it would be all messed up. All my data would come out. Bill Mazeroski, look at that. No hat. That's cool. His arms are folded. He's got his bat. It looks like there's some people in the stands behind him. In most of these pictures, they're basically what I was told by one of the guys, one of the subscribers. He told me that these pictures were taken in October, right after the season ended, before the guys took off. They got the guys together in whatever stadium, and they took all the pictures. They posed the guys. They said, okay, stand like this or stand like that. If you're an infielder, you're going to stand like an infielder. If you want, some guys wanted to bat. So that's what's going to happen. Hey, you got all these sporting news cards. I guess these are the stars: Rod Carew, Felix Millan, Boo Powell, Ron Santo, Brooks Robinson, Don Kessinger. Robinson, Frank Robinson, Johnny Bench, Bill Freehand, Jerry Koosman. Wow. And then on the back end, you got like some pictures, some caricatures of the players with a little bit of information. The back end of these cards are gorgeous. I mean, they're really nice. They're yellow and blue. They have little cartoons, and they give you little tidbits of information about the players. There's J.C. Martin. He's been starting lately. And that's it. This is my Topps baseball collection. Just got this. It's a huge book. Came in this book, so I'm really excited about that. And it gives me a chance to look at all these players, and just get the feel for the time era, for the period. This was just a little bit before me. I started getting interested in baseball a little bit after this. Early mid 70s is when I started really getting into baseball. So these guys, but this is a classic. Mets season to replay. 1969 was that year. Now, I don't know if that can be repeated. I mean, that was kind of a miracle. It was like, it was just something that you just can't reproduce just like that. So I don't know if my season is going to replay the Mets winning it all, but it's sure fun to meet the team and to watch the team and to see the players and to learn about the players and to bring them back to life. Only half the Mets from that team are still alive. So, and of course, Tom Seaver has got, he's very ill. So he's not around anymore to do any interviews. He wasn't even able to show up at the Mets festivities in this past year in the 50th anniversary. I went that weekend, the 50th anniversary. I got a T-shirt from the 50th anniversary. And I got some bobbleheads from that weekend as well. Gaylord Perry. So weird. That card seems a little bit out of whack. Not sure what's going on there with the arms on that. It's a little bit beat up, that card. Gaylord Perry took a beating. Stan Bonson. Wow, look at that. These are guys I know from 76. Cleon Jones. Man, he was a young kid. Look at that. He's young. Wow. Pete Rose. My goodness. He belongs in the Hall of Fame. Not in the, not in the Ethics Hall of Fame, but in the base hitting Hall of Fame. Rusty Staub. We lost him this year in summer. Le Grand Orange. What a hitter he was. Mike Cuellar. Mike Ryan, I played him the other day. Phillies. Willie Mays, the Say Hey Kid. Wow. This is crazy. Royals, ex-Mets, Jerry Koosman. What a great player he was. What a pitcher, man. Basically, he didn't get the acclaim he deserved because, he was always basically overshadowed by Tom Seaver. Yanks, Horace Clarke, second base. Manager, Clyde King of the Giants. You get the manager cards here as well. Wayne Garrett, second base, third base for the Mets. Buddy Harrelson, man, he is tiny. Holy smokes, he's 140 pounds. Pete Rose flipped him over his shoulder. I think it was that 73 playoff that they got into it, that second base, hard slide by Rose, and Harrelson took issue with that and got in Pete Rose's face, and Pete Rose wasn't having it. Pete Rose, man, he's a powerful dude. He's a muscular, powerful dude, and he went flying. And Buddy Harrelson went flying in the air. You can see that on YouTube. You want to see that on YouTube? Check it out. Watch Buddy Harrelson go flying. I think this is weird. The hat has no Yankee insignia on it. It's really strange. Pete Ward, first base outfield. He's got a blue hat on. He's with the Yanks in yellow, but he's got no insignia. That's strange. So you got a lot of anomalies and stuff that you can pick up on this. I'm reading the 1969 Ball 4 by Jim Bouton. We lost him in July. It's another ball player we lost. What a great book that is, man. You're in the dugout for the whole season, the whole 1969 Seattle Pilots season, and then it's he gets traded to the Houston Astros. and you sit with him in the dugout, and he's an intelligent guy, so he's making really astute observations throughout, and you really understand how players thought back in '69, and it's a beautiful thing because you go back in time and you kind of relive. It's like time traveling. It's all about time travel. It's all about the learning and experiencing the past, and touching that time period. It's Frank Robinson. Look at that. He was some player, man. Holy smokes. And Jose Santiago, Felix Mian. He's choking up the bat. What is that, like 8 to 10 inches? I'll never forget that. He played in the Mets in the early '70s, early mid '70s. I used to watch him on WOR in Queens. That was their Lindsey Nelson and Bob Kiner and Ralph Kiner and Bob Murphy. And I remember him choking up, and I would be like, "Whoa, look at that guy choke up." That was crazy. And Mickey Lolich. You got Mickey Lolich. You got never heard of that Al Spangler. He's not a real with the Cubs. But that's pretty much it. So I got to get a couple of checklists. And other than that, Carl Yastrzemski. And then we got all the way to he's 10, 343, 244, 714, 720. The set has 720. So that's it. This is CP Cards and Dice, and I thank you guys for tuning in on the. So I unboxed a few things. Let's go over quickly what I unboxed. I unboxed the 1970 card set of the 1969 Mets season. That's a blast and a half. So we did that. We saw that. We also saw a couple of books that I showed you from 1970s as well, so you can learn about the 70s and big hair and plastic grass. This was highly recommended. Then I found this one. I mean, these are $3 books, man. This is not a big outlay. And that's sometimes the shipping included. You pay the taxes, like $4, you get it delivered. Dynastic, Bombastic, and Fantastic, Jason Turbo. And this one is by Dan Epstein. I unboxed that. And then I finally unboxed some very cool custom envelopes from my 87 APA Basic replay. There it is. I did those, and that replaced, of course, the standard fare, the old school fare, which is, these are very cool. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what I had as a kid. But, these are a little more pizzazz, a little bit more colorful and have more character, and just makes the experience, of what we do, just it adds to the interest of what we do. So anyway, this is CP Cards and Dice, and just reminding you guys that this is your home for tutorials and strategy and player profiles, history, reviews, news, tips, top baseball cards, rants, unboxings, and all kinds of stuff. And thanks for stopping by, and I will see you guys soon.